Wilson is stronger than you.
Way stronger.
That's why you have to resort, which
Absolutely.
most of us would consider to be a pretty tough way of imposing discipline, the shock collar.
Correct.
If
Very
you
common in
didn't
giant
have
breed
that-
dogs because they are
if you
stronger
didn't have
than most
that,
of their
Wilson
human
would
handlers.
drag you across the bar.
Exactly.
And you actually put it on the highest setting, am I correct?
It has a red button for emergencies that triples the highest setting that you have saved.
And what do you claim, Ms. Paulson, is not true about what the defendant has told us? What's untrue about what he
Not
just said?
only the text messages my dog sitter sent to me, and also I spoke over the phone right the next day,
Yeah.
and I asked him what exactly happened.
Yes.
And he said, Sueli, I was at the bar, and he was with my two friends, and they came over to say hello, and Molly was with them.
Well, I read the text messages. I didn't see that conversation.
Why spoke?
What I saw was a conversation consistent with what the
I
defendant
spoke
just
on the
told
phone,
us.
over the phone with him several times.
I have a question. I know you're relying on your sitter's perspective on,
Yes.
on things, but did it ever occur to you that maybe she has some motive to lie?
I don't think so. I really believed her. She's a very sweet person, and she loved dogs.
You know, Mr. Miller was very concerned about Molly, and it was very apparent. He reached out to you to see how Molly was doing first and foremost.
Correct.
You did
Many times.
come off like you really did care about the dog. And he offered to take responsibility when he could have just said, this is not my fault at all. You weren't there, and this is how it happened.
Yes, in the beginning, he was very apologetic, and he was concerned about Molly. And he said, Sueli, let's wait until she is good, and then we talk about the medical bills. And I said, okay, and I kept sending him the bills. And then after he's seeing the bills, he changed.
Well, let me talk about the bills. In conversation with him, at one point you said it was $3,031. Then you said it was $4,000.
For a month and a half, I was treating my dog. I had to buy antibiotics for her for 2 weeks. And then I have to change her dressing, her wound dressing twice daily for a month and a half. So those, I didn't really send the bills.
Mr. Miller, you wanted to pay for half.
Yes, so
Would that half also include the follow-up? Because she had to have surgery.
Not at all, and here's why. The very first communication, I avoided taking her to the ER last night because I kind of know how much it would cost. The very next day, she says that she's supposed to go back in 12 days. I spoke with the doctor. I'll keep an eye on her, and if she doesn't get worse, then I won't take her back because it will cost more. The additional infections that were found 12 days, 10 days after the initial vet bill, for someone who maintained that they didn't want to take the dog to the vet because of cost, not my responsibility.
You offered
I offered
to pay her half
the very
bill.
first, yes, the first time I offered half, and then
And
after,
you offered to give her $1,000.
and after she said that it had surgery, and she was sending me estimates, by the way. I never saw a final bill for the surgery. She wanted me to pay for all of it, and then kept throwing other things in there, like I had to buy gauze and tape. I think all the additional health-related issues that the dog has had has been because of lack of wanting to pay for it and a lack of concern.
I don't have any further questions. All right, well, thank you both very much.
We have reached a verdict. It is not unanimous. For me, Ms. Paulson, it was problematic that you couldn't tell us what really happened because you weren't there. And it is your burden to prove your case. So we had to rely, or I relied on your version of events, Mr. Miller. And I found you to be credible and also responsible in that you took the proper precaution when out with Wilson in public. Judge Corriero and I believe that you tried to take some responsibility for what happened. And by doing so, offered a certain amount to Ms. Paulson. This in no way affects how we view settlement offers. We're not trying to lay blame to you. We're just honoring your wishes to take some form of responsibility for Wilson's actions that day. Another dog did get hurt. It could have been worse. But because you took the responsibility of having a leash and also a shock collar, you saved a dog's life. And so for that, we felt the equitable thing to do here is to award Ms. Paulson the $1,000 that you were offering her. Judge Juarez didn't agree because of the very strict and unique dog bite laws in New York City that wouldn't have awarded you anything, Ms. Paulson. But of course, majority rules in this court. And so, Ms. Paulson, the verdict is in your favor for $1,000.